Welcome to Kilroy's Outlaws and Legends Behind the Music with your host, multi-award-winning music producer, Eddie Kilroy. And now, here's your host, Eddie Kilroy.
How in the world are you? And welcome to this edition of Kilroy's Outlaws, Legends, and Behind the Music. Lord, what are we going to talk about today? I know it's going to be good. You know what? We're going to talk about Charlie Rich. Charlie Rich was a great entertainer. Finally, he hit his stride and had a bunch of big records in 1970. All through the 70s, he was happening. He had, before that, though, he had made some noise. Old boy out of Arkansas. They all came out of Arkansas and landed on Sam Phillips' door. Sam signed him to Phillips Record, which was sister label to Sun Records, all recorded at the Sun Studios in Memphis, where Elvis recorded, Jerry Lee recorded, and so forth. And he had a hit there, too. It was on the Phillips label. If you remember that label, yeah, it was blue and had some white clouds in it, and a rather attractive label where Sun Records was pretty much blasé. But it didn't matter. It was what was in the groove. But I remember the first Phillips record that I saw the label, I said, that's pretty cool, Phillips Records. And he signed Charlie Rich to that, and they had a pretty good record. It went to number 9, number 8, something in that area, top 10 anyway, in Billboard magazine. It was called Lonely Weekend. The first time I heard it, I said, boy, it's a good record. And I became kind of a Charlie Rich fan as far as his music went. As far as meeting Charlie Rich and visiting with him, Jerry and I, Jerry Lee Lewis, we were in Memphis, and he said, why don't we go and listen to Charlie Rich tonight? And I said, okay. It was a lounge or a beer joint or something. I don't think it was Fernando's Hideaway, which was Jerry's favorite hangout there in Memphis because it was a smaller place. And I remember that Charlie, as Jerry would be, had a bottle of liquor on the piano. And he came over to the table, and we visited. He was cordial, and I liked Charlie. And he and Jerry were friends, and we kind of hung out together there for a little while. And then I didn't see Charlie after that for many years. He signed with a lot of labels, and he never could really hit the stride and make any noise until he signed with Epic Records, which is part of Columbia Records. And get it with a label that was really interested in him because he was with Groove Records, he was with H.I., which was a pretty good label in that day, Smash Records. Of course, he was on RCA Records, a subsidiary of theirs. And Chet produced him, and he couldn't do anything with him, not meaning he couldn't handle him. He just didn't have the right song, the right record, the right marketing package for Charlie Rich on RCA. He ended up, talking about Jerry Lee Lewis and Charlie, go back in history a little bit. Jerry Lee Lewis had a hit record called Break Up. Not one of his biggest, but it was pretty good, on Sun, and the backside of it was I'll Make It All Up to You. And hard to believe that the piano player was not Jerry Lee Lewis, one of the great piano players of all time. It was Charlie Rich playing piano on I'll Make It All Up to You. So Charlie was playing on one of Jerry Lee Lewis's records. I always found that to be kind of amusing, and it was, to see that. But Charlie was moving right along and hanging in there and just kind of doing mediocre stuff and really never hitting a stride. And he had a record on Smash, and I think it was on Smash, either High or Smash, back in '72, and it was I Take It On Home. I Take It On Home is the record. Then in the '70s, wow, he made the right move. And Billy Sherrill actually made the move. Billy Sherrill signed him to Epic Records in Columbia, which is Columbia Records. And he cut a lot of hits like Behind Closed Doors. That was a huge one. And The Most Beautiful Girl. That was a big one. I have a story on The Most Beautiful Girl. Billy Sherrill, now let me tell you, I admired Billy for his his ability to sense a song, to go in the studio, know what to do with it. One of the great record producers in Nashville. I was producing records the same time Billy was. I got to tell you guys and gals, I had to get on and ride a fast horse to keep up with Billy Sherrill. He was really, really good. And he did, of course, like I said, Most Beautiful Girl and Who Will the Next Fool Be and Behind Closed Doors, all those I've already mentioned. But the story on Most Beautiful Girl, I mentioned also in a previous podcast, I think. Billy Sherrill was a friend of mine. Billy Sherrill was a talented guy. Billy Sherrill was lacking on ethics, which is something I really tried to work at, being ethical on everything I did in the music industry. The thing that really got me is Rory Burke and Charlie Black wrote The Most Beautiful Girl. And the record comes out, and it's got Billy Sherrill on credit for one of the writers. And I asked Rory Burke, and Rory was really nice, didn't say anything bad about anybody. I said, what did Billy change on that song? He said, well, it sounded like the demo to me, Kilroy. Well, I found out later that he added the word hey, H-E-Y, hey. That's all he contributed to the song. And instead of Behind Closed Doors of The Most Beautiful Girl, he just took The Most Beautiful Girl and put hey. That's right, hey, did you happen to see The Most Beautiful Girl? Well, that one word made him a ton of money because that was a huge, huge record. Royalties all total with mechanicals and performance. I'm just guessing. I don't know, but I know a lot about what they make. I'm going to guess that record paid about $200,000. And the word hey got Billy 1/3 of a couple $100,000. And Billy did that a lot. He got on a lot of songs. Never once did I ever ask anybody for anything except, give me the hit song from artist. Thank you very much. And Charlie, of course, ended up getting 2 Grammys. And that was quite a feat to get 2 of them. He was really a talented guy. But then he passed away in Mississippi. When did Charlie die? 1995, I believe. 1995, he died in a hotel room in Mississippi. I don't know whether it was a heart attack. They never announced or said what the autopsy showed. I would say that Charlie had enough alcohol in his system build up through the years that perhaps that was the cause. I don't know, but I know he passed away. That's pretty much the story on Charlie Rich. Beside the fact, the one thing I forgot about mentioning is when he was asked to present an award on the CMA banquet and their big TV show and what have you, he was going to present the Entertainer of the Year award. Now, that was a mistake to ask Charlie to present anything. But Charlie apparently had a really, really lot to drink before it was his turn to bring forth this Entertainer of the Year, and who won it. So he staggers on stage. If you guys out there, any of you listening or watching, watch those CMA awards at night, and he stumbled out there, obviously soused, and pulled out a cigarette lighter and opened the envelope, pops the lighter, and burns the guy's name and everything. Of course, he knew it. And then he said, in a slurred voice, the Entertainer of the Year is John Denver. He really didn't like John Denver. He didn't think John Denver belonged in that category, but he got the award anyway. But after he showed up soused on stage, giving an award and being a presenter, you know, he just ruined himself. It was never the same, never thought of in the industry again. And if the Nashville industry is not behind you and you're recording country music, they're going to cut you off. Yep, you can't get out of step too far. So he passed away in 1995 and left quite a mark, a lot of beautiful music. Right now, I want to thank our sponsor. Yep, the guy and the company that brings this show to you. And we're so appreciative of having such a wonderful sponsor, Total Feeds. I'm proud of that because I know that company, and I know everything that Dr. Anderson does in pursuit of health for all species of animals. The horses, Total Equine, oh gosh, our horses look so good. They've been on Total Equine ever since I met Dr. Anderson 15, 16 years ago. And we've got some dogs on Total Canine. They're doing wonderful. Total People. Yep, Dr. Anderson designed that, put it together, formulated it. Liz and I have been on it for a long time, and I think we feel good. I know we do. Total bovine, those bucking bulls, you see a lot of them on the PBR and Pro Rodeo are being fed Total Equine and Total Bull. Then there's Total Goat. Just about any species that lives and breathes, Dr. Anderson has come up with a formula that makes them feel better. So we want to give a big thank you to Total Feeds for sponsoring this podcast, and I urge you to go to their website. Read about the product. Read about what it does for you. See some of the testimonials from really good people that have had great results with Total Feeds. This is Kilroy saying, till the next time, God bless each and every one of you, and I'll see you later.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Kilroy's Outlaws and Legends Behind the Music. If you have any thoughts or questions about the content, email them. Kilroy Outlaws and Legends, all one word, at yahoo.com. That's Kilroy, no S, Outlaws and Legends, all one word, at yahoo.com. And don't forget to subscribe. Third-party use of any part of this podcast without the expressed consent of Eddie Kilroy is prohibited. The Kilroy's Outlaws and Legends Behind the Music podcast is a production of Eddie Kilroy.